Welcome, everyone, once again to SoCo Chat, a podcast where we discuss all things concerning the county of Sonoma here in our beautiful corner of our Northern California. Once again, I'm your host, Paul Gullickson, Communications Manager for the county of Sonoma, and we appreciate you being with us. Today, we have as our guest Brian Whipple, Director for Sonoma County Animal Services. We're very fortunate to have him. We have a lot of things to talk about with animals. But before we get to Brian, you know the routine. We always like to start off with a trivia question, and we're not going to let you down. In recognition of the celebrated release of Dune Part 2 in movie theaters, our question today concerns the author of the book, Frank Herbert. Now, as some of you know, Herbert once lived in Sonoma County at a time when he was said to be actually working on this book, possibly Dune itself. He lived here from 1949 to 1954. Our question is, where did he work? And what was his job? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. If you're correct, you'll be entered into our weekly drawing on March 20th for a chance to win one of our limited edition SoCo Chat mugs. You don't want to miss that. So reach out. Once again, that's 565-2242 or publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. Anyway, let's welcome Brian. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, we really appreciate it. Now, would you start by just giving us a sense of what it is, an overview of what Sonoma County Animal Services does and what you do in particular?
Yeah. Sonoma County Animal Services, we service the unincorporated area of the county and also the city of Santa Rosa. So it's a big, wide swath of the county that we're dealing with, and we're covering anything from dog bites, animal cruelty cases, owner surrenders, dogs running at large, bite cases. There's criminal issues, there's civil issues, there's adoption issues, there's incoming animal issues.
Oh my gosh.
So there's a lot that happens.
Well, I imagine doing your job, and you're head of the department, right?
Correct, yes.
You oversee all this, and I imagine it's hard to do that job without being an animal lover yourself, right? I take it you are.
Yes. Yeah, no, and I've been doing this for around 30 years now, in all different capacities throughout the country. And, working here in Sonoma County has been absolutely wonderful. I mean, you can't beat the location. The weather's perfect, and the people here are so invested in their pets that it makes it so much easier to work with and just makes it a lot better for the animals that are in the community.
Well, that's good to hear. We love our animals. Well, as you know, we've been working with your team and talking about building awareness about the need of animal service, animal adoptions in particular. And just last month, there was a story in the Press Democrat about how the number of dogs in your care exceeded your capacity. Can you tell us what the situation is like right now?
Yeah, after the article came out, we had a great support from the community. We had quite a few adoptions happen. Some of our local partners were able to transfer animals, so our population dropped a little bit, but we're still at that brink. We're on the bubble at this point of, it could go right over the edge again any day.
So you're at a capacity. Your capacity is about 120, 118.
Yeah, 118 kennels. We can do more, but it's not comfortable, we'll say.
Yeah. So is there something in particular that triggered this sudden increase in the animals coming into your care?
I think there's kind of three factors that play into it. The first being COVID was one. Everybody got a pandemic puppy. They're a lot of work. And, the animals that we do have, they're probably, I like to call them lads, large adolescent dogs. And they're dogs that haven't been socialized well. They haven't been trained well.
Particularly during COVID. You didn't have a chance to interact with people or dogs.
Exactly. So that was working against them from the get-go.
Yeah.
And now people are going back to work, having to be in the office, and they don't have the time they used to have.
Yeah.
So that's what we're seeing there. And also a part of that comes down to just the access to pet-friendly, affordable housing, and access to affordable veterinary care. Though housing and veterinary care are the two main reasons people surrender animals to us.
Okay, and do you see this? That would make sense, although it's heartbreaking. Do you see this as a temporary situation, or is there something that might be with us for a lot? Do you see trends like this where your numbers go up and down?
Time to time, but never this high.
Okay.
I've been with the county at Animal Services for over 10 years now, and I have never seen the kennels as full as they've been within the last 2 years.
Okay. All right. Well, it's my understanding that long term you are looking at plans to expand the kennels. Is that right?
Yeah, we're looking to do a lot of building improvements, make more space for both animals and staff.
Mhm.
It's an older building, so there's a lot of upgrades that we want to make happen. A fresh coat of paint can go a long way, and adding some color and just really making it a more, customer friendly, animal friendly, and just overall experience much better for the people and the animals.
And where is your main facility?
We're up at 1247 Century Court, just off Airport Boulevard.
Okay. All right. Just so people can visualize it. They've probably all seen it, but just to make it clear where we're talking here. So, okay. So we do have some long-term solutions, but what are some of the short-term solutions that people can do to help reduce your population?
Right away, it's going to be adoption, foster, volunteering, getting the animals out and getting exercise. You can do that for a week. You can do it for a night. You can do it for a weekend. And also donations. The more that we can, work with an animal, provide extra medical care, whatever, or even behavior training. All of that makes that animal, work towards a more positive outcome.
Yeah. Well, let's take each of one of those separately. Let's talk about adoption. How hard is it to adopt? I've heard people say it's really hard. Is it that hard to adopt an animal, or you just want to be careful?
We want to make sure that it's the right fit.
Yeah.
A lot of times you may not want to have a husky in an apartment, or
Right.
they look cute, but
Yeah.
they
It
are
doesn't
a lot
always
of work.
fit.
So we want to make sure that the animal's personality fits the person's personality.
Okay.
So we do have some questions we ask, but overall it's not that difficult. If you own your home, not an issue. If you rent, we just need to get a landlord approval.
Okay.
And other than that, you can take an animal home that day.
Yeah. And you do want to make sure that they have time and the unction to take care of them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Right,
a
function.
dog is a 16-year investment. A cat could be a 20-year investment.
Right.
So that's a lot of time that you have with those pets.
And do you help them? Help them understand what the best practices for how to care for an animal, those kinds of things?
Yeah, absolutely. We give a lot of tips and tricks. There's in our adoption packet, there's handouts that really, guide you through your, if you're first-time pet owner or a 20-time pet owner.
Yeah.
There's some new things that are always happening that helps the animals.
You can always learn. There's always things to learn.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's talk about this foster program. I don't know if a lot of people know about that. Tell us about it.
Yeah, no, it's great. And we have, we're open to doing any type of fostering. So, it really is to get the animals out, give them a break. Being in a shelter, it's loud. There's a lot of smells. There's a lot of stimuli. So it gets stressful for those animals. So the more they can get out and decompress, the better they are. So you can take a dog out, we can encourage to take a dog for a hike for a day, or, take it home for a weekend to give it a few days just to lay on the couch or play in the backyard. Or you can do long-term fostering where it could be a month or more. And any bit really helps, and it goes a long way for the pets.
And even then, I imagine you help match them up, make sure it's a good fit, that it's a type of dog that fits well with that environment.
Yeah, and
that.
same with adoptions, where in the foster adoptions, if you own another pet, we want to make sure they meet and get along before you would take that home. But yeah, we will guide you through. We provide all the supplies. If there's emergency medical care, we're going to take care of that as well. So there's options.
So if you got a week's vacation, you don't know what to do, why not bring a pet home for a week and hang out, go on hikes together or whatever.
Yeah, and absolutely. And say if visitors here and they're doing winery tours or whatever it might be, come through. Pick up a pet, pick up one of the dogs for the weekend, and take them out. Take them for a run if you're exercising.
It's a great way to practice. Maybe it leads to an adoption.
Yep.
What's some of the feedback you get from people who take advantage of the foster program?
Oh, they love it. We like to call them foster failures because a lot end up adopting the animals that they take into foster.
I like that.
But in the end, it's really rewarding because you get to see that animal change over time. They could come in really stressed out, maybe even a little depressed. But that attention, that time goes a long, long way.
Yeah, I can imagine that. So, well, tell us about the volunteering. How can people volunteer, and does it require a lot of time?
It doesn't. We want definitely have a commitment to come in and do some work with us and work with the animals. But there's many different options. It can be walking dogs. It can be cuddling cats. Helping out up front in the office with customer service type work, filing. There's many options for any type of work that you would want to do around there.
Yeah,
and it really helps the staff out. It takes a lot of pressure off. There's a lot that goes on, and getting those folks to come in and spend their free time with us is great, and it's amazing to have them.
And I'm sure it's great for the animals too.
Yes.
I mean, they appreciate the attention and whatever exercise you
Yes.
can give them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And actually, one other thing that's interesting too is we have an office foster program.
Hmm.
So we work with actually like the auditor's office. We have pets that go over there. We go down to the sheriff's office frequently and bring puppies or whatever.
Oh,
So
that's great.
there's options that if somebody wants to have a dog for the day, we'll deliver it. And it can stay right in your office, and we'll even pick it up in the end of the day.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we should have invited you to bring one with you today. We love pets in this office. Of course, it'd be a huge distraction, but we
It happens.
yeah, I can totally get that. And then of course the donations. If somebody really doesn't have time, but you love pets, how can people help with their donations?
Yeah, those monetary donations go along with even items, whether it's blankets, whether it's dog food, treats, tennis balls. But that really helps us be able to, add some extra medical care that one may need. We work with some of the local boarding and training kennels where they take on a dog for X amount of time and work with them to get them, trained well. So it's an animal that, you're coming out with that's fully trained, but has been with a fully operation out there to be able to train those dogs and just make them a great pet all the way through.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate all the work you do. We do feature our pet of the month, or every 2 weeks, bi-monthly. We in our newsletter that we put out, and we love the personalities and the stories behind some of these dogs.
Yeah,
So.
it's great. We appreciate that because that actually does bring people in. There's no question. And
Well, if you just go in and meet some of these dogs, you realize how lovely they are, and they're eager to see you.
yes,
It's always nice to have somebody jump up and down when you come home,
it's
right?
unconditional love.
My kids used to be that way, but they're all that's not happening anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, tell us, is there any more big changes happening at the Animal Services? What's going on? Anything else coming down the road?
We were really short staffed for a long time there,
Oh, right.
and now we're actually just about fully staffed. We'll have our full complement of officers out in the field, being able to help protect people and animals on the daily basis. And really, with the staffing, then we can actually do more and more with the animals. And that plays into the volunteering as well, where the volunteers take some of that pressure off of the staff, then we've got more we can work with and more that we can do. And, we just want to keep expanding. We want to, bring animals to anybody that wants one and really help them guide through. I mean, I want us to be a resource for the community.
Yeah.
We may not provide a service, but we know who does, and we'll definitely get you connected with that.
Yeah. That's great. That's a great way to see that. Well, tell us on the personal side. You say, how long have you been with? You say you've been in many big places across the country. How long have you been with the county?
Just over 10 years.
Okay.
And like I said, it's been great. I've been in a couple
This
of
is obviously your passion.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. And I started out, what really got me into this field.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I wasn't, probably not being the best son in the world, but
None of us were.
I'm from New Hampshire originally, so it was. I thought it would be a good idea to run away one day, right?
Okay.
So I had to have been 6, 7, something like that, and it was a pretty cold, snowy day in New England, and I got lost out in the woods behind our house, and actually, one of our dogs found me, and that's what has driven my passion for pets ever since.
That. Yeah.
So.
Well, I was a failed runaway a couple of times myself.
It's fun.
And coming home and seeing my dog sometimes was the best part of the day.
That's right. That unconditional love goes a long way.
That's a great story. Thank you for sharing that with me. Well, what's I know it's tough. But what do you like most about your job?
It's different every day. There's always, because you're dealing with live animals, there's always something a decision needs to be made or a problem that has to be fixed. So there's lots of problem solving. But in the end, it's seeing the animals get adopted, finding a new home, just getting another lease on life to be able to go and find a different place to be.
Yeah.
The look of people when they find their lost pets.
Yeah.
And the adopters, there's so many great things that happen. It's a really emotional field, but it's also a really rewarding field in the end.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be. Yeah. It might be hard to say goodbye to some of these dogs, but at the same time, it's great to see them connected. Yeah, well, that's fantastic. Well, final question: do you have like what do you do in your free time? Do you have hobbies or?
Yeah, love playing golf.
Okay,
definitely go for hikes here and there when I have time.
Good. Yeah, why not?
And spending time with the family, and love cooking. Whether it's indoor or outdoor, I'm all for it.
Well, that sounds great. Well, we'll have to talk more about that next time. But listen, we really appreciate it. Have you seen the movie Dune yet?
I haven't yet. I saw the first one, but I definitely want to see
Not
the second
one.
That-
Yeah,
yes.
I haven't either, but I'm eager to see it. Well, Brian, thank you so much for being with us. As always, as a token of our appreciation, we'd like you to take one of our SoCo Chat mugs to show that you've been a guest on our show, and we really appreciate it. And we're eager to have you back sometime to give us periodic updates.
Yeah,
if you don't
absolutely.
mind.
I appreciate it.
Great. And to our listeners, we'd like to give you a chance to win one of our SoCo Chat mugs. Our question today is in recognition of the celebrated release of Dune Part 2. Our question today concerns the author of the book, Frank Herbert. As some of you know, Herbert once lived in Sonoma County at a time when he was said to be working on many of his books, getting his start as an author. He lived here from 1949 to 1954. Our question is, where did he work and what was his job? If you know, call us at 707-565-2242 or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org. And if you submit your questions today, you can be in our drawing for a chance to win one of our mugs. And we'd also like to say, if you have any comments about this or any other segment, or have a suggestion for a topic for a future SoCo Chat discussion, please call us at that same number, 565-2242, or email us at publicaffairs@sonoma-county.org and let us know what you think. We thank you all. We hope you continue to follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, and of course, YouTube. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.